by having private meetings and not taking it to council?
Well, I mean, I certainly am accountable for everything that I do at the end of the day, and so I believe I'm accountable standing here right in front of you now, and I have been doing what I think is best, and I've made it very clear that the ultimate decision on whether or not we actually have a bid for the Olympics, if we send in the letter on the 15th, is in the hands of City Council. And so there will be a debate, and there will be a vote, and there will be a meeting, and there will be every opportunity for everybody at that time in possession of all the facts to have their views heard and to vote. So I think what I'm doing is the prudent, practical, sensible way of going about this in the circumstances which were not of my making. And I respect the right of Anthony Peruzza Councillor Peruzza to write a letter taking issue with that. But I've decided to go about this the way I'm going about it, and I just think it is the best and most sensible way to do it.
But in fairness, if you decide not to proceed without a council meeting, then council will not have a vote.
Well, that's a fair point, but if I decide not to proceed, it'll be because the weight of evidence and opinion gathered from people, including the members of City Council, suggests it's not a wise thing to do in the best interest of the city. But the bottom line is that the time period that was set here, which was not even set with a view to anything to do with Toronto, it was set a long time ago, and maybe that's part of the issue here, is that before I came along as the mayor, there really wasn't any serious consideration being given to making a bid, and as a result it has made very short the time period during which you can consider a lot of questions that might have been considered before by those who were enthusiastic about this. But we are where we are, and I'm going to have to make a determination about this letter, and we will then proceed from there.
Two more questions, Mr. Mayor.
You've been downplaying, though, the significance and the impact and in terms of what the letter would mean. Do you feel, based on the IOC's 2020 plan and the information that is publicly available, that you can make those kind of assurances as to the implications of what the letter means?
Well, I mean, I think the letter is, aside from the technical aspects of what the letter means or doesn't mean, I can certainly assess the fact that you have to sort of be serious when you send a letter, if you send a letter saying, yes, we're interested. And in that sense, that's why I'm taking the trouble and taking all the time when I have many other issues to try and deal with, to be very careful in the deliberations and the consultations that I'm doing about whether to send a letter or not. There are a lot of people who say to me, it's just a placeholder, send it in and don't worry about it.
Does it mean we're bidding?
No, it does not. But I think it means that you've certainly taken the first step in that direction, and then you have to explain yourself when you withdraw later if that's what you did. And so that's why I'm being careful about this. I mean, I'm not taking any kind of a cavalier approach. In fact, if I'd wanted to be cavalier, I would have said, well, just send the letter in last week. And it doesn't sort of mean much. And it means something in the sense that we're serious enough to say we want to go the next step. And I don't think it's a trivial matter, and that's why I'm being very careful about it.
Last question.
For a moment, realistically speaking, we're like 4 business days away from this deadline. You acknowledged yourself yesterday that we're still missing some really key pieces of information. Is there any possibility of this even happening at this point? Should we even still be talking about an Olympic bid?
Well, I think at the end of the day, it is the details of the actual bid that we're short of at the moment. I think we have some parameters, whether it even be from the information put on public file from Los Angeles, from Boston, and from other places. We have an idea as to the parameters of a bid in terms of the approximate cost, and that's part of what I'm discussing with people. I lay those numbers out at the beginning of the meetings as to the sort of kind of range that you'd be in terms of venue investment, other public infrastructure investment, and sort of the operating costs of running the games. And a lot of that, we have a lot of historical information we've connected on other games as well. So I'm being responsible about that, but actually until you get to putting a bid together, you actually really don't know those numbers, because you have to make decisions in putting forward your bid as to exactly the kind of bid. And I've had even differing opinions on the kind of bid we should put forward if we have one. So look, that's what makes it challenging to have the job that I have, which is that I'm trying to sort of make sense of all this information and come to the best decision I can in the best interests of what I believe to be the best interests of the people of the City of Toronto. And I'll make that call and people will judge it as they wish. But I am trying to go about this in a careful, responsible, common sense way and listening to an awful lot of people in groups and individually. And I will continue to do that until the last minute that I have to take the time, because I need it.
Thanks, everyone. We gotta go.
When's the deadline for the letter?
September 15th.
Like midnight or?
I would take September 15th as meaning until 11:59:59 on the 15th of September, and I guess with electronic communication that might mean you have until late that evening to send a letter if you're sending one.
Is that Geneva time or Toronto?
That's a very good question. I'll check into that, and thank you for asking. Only because it's you, Cynthia. Yes, go ahead.
Cab drivers tell me they've lost 50% of their income and that they can't survive much longer like this. But it seems that Uber is now entering the fray and they're going to continue to lose that kind of business. Do you anticipate a lot of them having to lose their jobs and...
I want drivers to continue to be able to make a living, not just to have a job, but to be able to make a living. The research suggests that there is a place on a continuing basis going forward for taxi cabs, as there is for Uber, and it's not me saying there's a place for Uber, it's the people who have said there's a place for Uber. So what we're now going to do is regulate them to have a fairer playing field, a more equitable playing field. We're taking an immediate step, if people go along, to reduce the fares, to make taxi cabs more competitive. That, the research tells you right away, will have a positive effect on the income and the lives of drivers, because more people say they would take a cab if the fare was lower. And so we're doing some things in the short term, we're doing some things in the medium term to create that more level playing field, but to accept reality. And that's all. I would pose a question back to those people that would say ban Uber. And I would ask them the question of how do they think we would do that, and do they think we would be successful? Do they think we're going to be successful at turning back a technology that has been adopted and embraced by hundreds of thousands of people in this city and in other cities the world over? And I would point out, by the way, the direction in which we're going here in Toronto based on this report is not far off the direction in which other cities are going as well, some of which tried the routine of saying they were going to ban Uber before they came around to doing it this way. And this is the common sense, realistic way to do it that is actually in the zone of reality, and that's actually going to bring about a fairer result and one that's better for the traveling public. Thanks very much.